Hello, internets. It's that moment you've all been waiting for, my long overdue follow-up review of these Skinner's Sock-thingies. I'm Charlie Hudson, and you are watching Reanderthal. I backed these on Kickstarter, and I received them around about November of last year, which was really too late to give them a whole lot of use before it got too cold to make them practical. Well, now I've had them for almost a year, and I really still don't find myself using them that much. For me, the best use cases for these are either fair weather day hikes or shoulder season trips into town. There's really not many other scenarios where I'm going to end up using them. I have been using these for some rock hopping day hikes, and they're nice for that if you're comfortable going barefoot. They'll protect your feet a little bit more than just bare feet, and you'll feel a little bit safer if you're going out sort of farther afield. But they're not perfect. I mentioned in my review last year that I had been wearing these with liner socks and that my feet were slipping around just ever so slightly in the Skinners. I found that for rock hopping type activities, it was best to remove the liner socks and wear these directly. It made me feel much more connected to where I was stepping. But the problem with that is that I found that these don't breathe that well. So if I wore them all day, either making my way through airports from Florida back to Maine, or on an all-day hike of Katahdin, my feet would get a little bit moist and then they would get clammy, which is not ideal. Still, for an adventurous day hike, it's really the next best thing to being barefoot, and that is a good use for these. The problem, though, with your feet getting moist is that these things will start to smell pretty quickly. I find that if I'm not wearing liner socks, they'll start to smell after only one use. So once again, it's really only day hikes that I would wear these for, and then I'm going to have to throw them in the wash. The good news is, though, that these will handle a washing pretty well. I've been pretty happy in terms of wear. I had been concerned that the nubbles on the bottom of the shoes, or socks or whatever, would knock off pretty easily, but if you look at the wear pattern, they actually rub off much more like regular shoes. And I was pretty happy, even though some of these nubbles have been pretty smooth, I was pretty happy with the grip that I had climbing Katahdin. The only places where these weren't great on Katahdin is where there were pebbles and sort of rubbly areas with maybe inch diameter scree, which is pretty unforgiving on a bare foot, and where there was sand on rocks. The problem with going from sand to smoother rocks in a barefoot shoe is that you get some sand sticking to your sole, and then the sand acts as bearings on that next surface and you have trouble getting a grip. But I've found that to be a problem with other barefoot shoes as well, because they have pretty flat soles. There's not a lot of deep texturing. I've also hiked Katahdin in 2 generations of Fieldmax Kuvas, and that's a problem that all 3 of these barefoot shoes had had. In terms of a hiking experience, these felt even closer to barefoot than either generation of the Fieldmax Kuvas, which meant, on the one hand, a great workout for the foot, but on the other hand, a great workout for the foot. In addition to a workout for my arch, in these shoes, I even felt a workout sort of around my big toe, where I was kind of reaching for that next rock that I was leaping to. But as I say, if you're comfortable going barefoot, your feet will get a workout, but you'll do fine. Now, of course, as I said, these are only going to be for fair weather day hikes. For that Katahdin hike, I did actually pack my kuvas in my bag because these are not going to keep your feet happy if it gets cold and wet. Now, as I said, the other use that I have for these things is shoulder season trips into town. I say shoulder season because, as I suspected, in the warmer days of the spring and the summer, I mostly wear sandals into town and stay barefoot at home. And once it gets really cold, I'm not going to be wearing these things. And if I want to wear these more than once in a row, and I'm not doing some sort of rock hopping where a little foot slippage is going to be unnerving, then I'm going to be wearing these with some sort of sock. So in the end, these are an interesting but not really all that useful curiosity, and I don't think that I would really shell out again to get something like this.